Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to be doing a book haul, which is odd for me because usually I do my book hauls quarterly, but this is just an October book haul. But I was going to leave it quarterly as usual, but then I realized I have, I think, 12 books that I hauled in October, which is quite a lot, I know. I'm kind of on a bit of a book buying ban for November, but then like December is Christmas time. I'm going to be getting books, or I'll be getting book vouchers, and I will be buying myself books. So like fourth quarter book haul, it might be a lot of books considering how many I got in October. So I just thought we'll do a really quick, it is only 12 books, so it's not crazy. So we'll do this and then we'll do November and December together. So let's just get into it. So the first book that I hauled in the month was actually The Chalice of the Gods by Rick Riordan. So this is the 6th book in the Percy Jackson series. I actually pre-ordered it and it took forever to get to me. But this is the lovely Waterstone Edition with the beautiful edge. I will say I wish that they just even had a block color, but like, whatever. As I said, this is the 6th book in the Percy Jackson series, but it is also kind of its own series because I think it's going to be a trilogy kind of within. It's set after the Heroes of Olympus, but before the Trials of Apollo, and we follow Percy, first person, and he is getting ready. He's in his last year of school, he's getting ready to go to college, and then he finds out he has to get 3 recommendation letters to get into New Rome University. So he has to complete 3 quests to get these recommendation letters from the gods, and the first one is to find the Chalice of the Gods. I do have a reading vlog where I read this, as well as the one I'm going to talk about next, so I will leave that link down below. And I gave this 5-star. I'll just tell you that. I had such a fun time. So then the next book that I hauled was also included in that video that I just talked about, and that is The Fragile Threads of Power by V.E. Schwab, and this is the Waterstone Edition. So it has the lovely, it's red, and as I said, it has a map, and then end papers, and then that's what it looks like on the front. So yeah, so this is also a continuation but slightly on its own series. So this is the first book in a new series set in the same world as Shades of Magic, and we follow on with most of the characters that we met in that story 7 years on, but also we get introduced to a couple of new characters. I overall like this. I didn't love it. We're not going to talk about it. But yes, I do love this edition though. And I may have 4 editions with another on the way. I went up to Dublin to go to the V.E. Schwab event that she was doing, and it was really fun. It was V.E. Schwab, very funny, and I just had a really good time. And I went to 4 different bookshops, and I only actually bought ones in Waterstones, but I take you along the journey, and obviously I do haul these books kind of in that video. First we have The Waking of Angantyr. I still haven't looked up how to pronounce this. I'm going to be reading it in a vlog soon, so I will make sure that I know how to pronounce it. It's by Marie Brennan. I actually didn't even know that this book was coming out until about like 3 days before I bought it, because I just saw Titan, who's the publisher, post on their Instagram, Marie Brennan has a new book coming out. And then I went into Hodges Vegas and it was there and I bought it. And so I don't really know what it's about. I think it's kind of like Norse inspired, and we follow a character who can hear ghosts. Basically, I think she kind of sets off on a quest to basically free the dead and silence them. And that is all I know about it. As I said, I will actually be reading this soon though, so be on the lookout for that. The next one that I hauled was The Art of Prophecy by Wesley Shute, which I do love this copy. I think it's such a pretty cover. A lot of the books that you will see in this haul are books that either I've read from the author before, like Marie Brennan, or I've already read the books before I actually got the books, or like, as I said, I love the authors, V.E. Schwab, Rick Riordan, all of that. So this one is kind of the one that is like the risk. Though I technically have read from Wesley Shute because he co-wrote the Red Scrolls of Magic and The Lost Book of the White with Cassandra Clare. So I technically have read from him, and I actually really enjoyed those. I thought they really added something to the Shadowhunter world that I think it had been getting a bit repetitive, and we saw, at least in the first one, I think the second one got a bit repetitive again, but in the first one I thought we like really saw some like new ideas. So I'm hopeful that maybe some unique fun things will be happening in here. But it's kind of just a story that I think plays with the chosen one trope, because we follow a chosen one and then the prophecy might be wrong, and so for like basically the first time in his life he actually has to like fight to survive. So next up we have The Broken Kingdoms by N.K. Jemisin. So this is the second book in the Inheritance trilogy, and I actually believe that these are more companion novels than direct sequels, because I mean what's the first book called? The 100,000 Kingdoms was a pretty self-contained story, and so I'm pretty sure this will also be. These are the new covers, and I am currently very slowly making my way through N.K. Jemisin's backlist because I want to rank all of her books eventually. I've read the entirety of the Broken Earth trilogy, and obviously I've read the first book in this, so this is the next one up. We follow, I think, just a normal man, and he, I think, actually like saves a god, and somehow he kind of gets involved in all of the gods fighting, and like the synopsis on the back is very short, like that is it. Doesn't mention any of the characters from the first book. I'm sure that they'll probably like at least briefly appear or be mentioned, but as I said, it does seem to be pretty on its own. So like I'm kind of excited and nervous about that because I really enjoyed the world, and I think, you know, obviously seeing different people's perspectives on it will be interesting, but also like, you know, it's a whole new story, a whole new set of characters. So like that does make me a little nervous. The next one that I hauled is Winter's Orbit by Everina Maxwell, and I've actually already read this. I read this back in April for Realmathon actually, because it was on the sci-fi team, and I really liked this book. It's one of my higher 4 stars of the year. I already owned Ocean's Echo. I bought that before I bought this one. I really love Ocean's Echo. That's also a 4 star, but I prefer that slightly. But this is like a sci-fi romance, because I would say that they are fairly 50-50 on the genres. But this story, so we follow a prince and we also follow like a diplomat, and the diplomat is a recent widower, and because of this he the treaty between their countries is in a fragile state, and so this prince basically ends up, the two of them have to get married, you know, team up together to try and solve the murder and kind of figure out some weird things that are happening with this treaty. And yeah, as I said, I did really love this. And I also hauled Into the Drowning Deep by Mira Grant, which, as you can see, since it's already a bit battered, I have read this recently. This is a pen name for Sean Maguire. I have read from Sean Maguire. I've obviously read the Wayward Children series, and I've also read Middle Game this year, and now I decided to give Sean Maguire's horror a go. So in this story, 7 years ago, there was a ship of this mockumentary crew, and they went out to film a mockumentary, obviously, on these mermaids. And then something terrible has happened, and the world is kind of divided whether it was a hoax or whether they actually did find killer mermaids. And now it's 7 years later, and a crew is being set up again, and they are going to go out and figure out what actually happened once and for all. Those were the books that I got in Hodges Vegas, but I did get 3 more books that day. So the first one was The Fragile Prince of Power by V. Schwab. This one is one of those really horrible giant paperbacks. Not the giant paperbacks that like America has that are super floppy. Like, look at this. There's no flop there. These, for some reason, Ireland likes to release these instead of hardbacks or normal paperbacks. And I hate them. They're like, it's so heavy. Like, it is, I would say, heavier than a hardback. And it is not flexible at all. So why would I want to read this? But it is signed. And it also has like a stamp of a bird because it's from the tour. So yeah, so am I keeping it anyway? For now. I might give it away to someone. Oh, I also did buy a tote bag, but it's over there in the corner and I'm too lazy to go get it. But I did actually buy 2 other books, and that is the paperbacks of Vicious and Vengeful. So if you didn't know, that very small shelf that you can see there is my V.E. Schwab shelf, and I'm collecting her editions. I knew that they would be selling a couple of her books there. I was like, they're going to definitely be the UK paperbacks, and I have basically all of her books in UK paperbacks, except these 2 and A Conjuring of Light. And they weren't selling A Conjuring of Light, which at first I was really confused. I was like, why wouldn't they do that? And I was like, well, they're probably presuming that if you're at a Fragile Threads of Power event, you probably read A Conjuring of Light and don't want a copy of it. So I was like, okay, that makes sense. But so I still need to buy that, and then I will have all my UK paperback collection completed, and then I have to work on my UK hardback collection. I got Vicious and Vengeful. Both of them are signed. So yeah, I don't think I need to tell you what these were. I probably don't need to tell you what these are about. These are part of the Villains going to be trilogy, but I don't think we're gonna get Victorious for like another 4 years, I'd say. But we follow Victor and Eli, and they are in college and they are doing a project on EOs or extraordinaries, and they kind of discover that near-death experiences can give you these powers. And so the two of them basically try to kill themselves and revive themselves to gain superpowers. And then we kind of flash forward, I think it's 10 years, and Victor is fresh out of prison and he wants revenge. And I really want to reread these because would it have been 2019 or 2020? I can't remember. 2020. I think it would have been 2020 when I first read them, and I haven't read them since, and I really want to reread them at some point. The next one was the Illumicrate book. I subscribed in October, so this is my first book that I got from them, and their book was After the Forest by Kel Woods. This is a continuation of Hansel and Gretel, and so we follow Gretel, and their town is suffering really badly, and she thinks that the witches' grimoire may be the solution to all of their problems. And yeah, I do think this is a beautiful edition, much prettier than the original cover, and it has edges. I'm not sure how I feel about the yellow, but like, you can't have everything. And I do love the end papers. I think the art style is really cute, and then it looks like a grimoire underneath, so really nice. Last book that I got in October was The Hunting Moon by Susan Dennard, and oh boy, that's shiny. So this actually only came out when I'm filming this. I think it came out like yesterday. When you see this, could be out like a week, let's be honest. But Waterstone's got a bit ahead of themselves, and they shipped this really early, and so I got it like, you know, a week and a half before it was supposed to be released. Again, another book that I will be reading in a vlog soon. This has, I should have actually brought over the first book, The Luminaries, because it also has a really beautiful edge. It's just purple on the top and the bottom, but I do think I really love this, and I really love the edge. And this is the sequel to The Luminaries, and The Luminaries basically, it's a really fun YA. Like, I do think that it's the kind of book that I'm gonna have to wait to be in the right mood for. So we follow Winnie Wednesday, and she wants to be a luminary more than anything, and the luminaries are basically like monster hunters that, you know, live in their town, but her family were basically kicked out of them for something that her father did, and she decides that she's going to undergo the trials anyway, and she starts to train, and because she has like fallen so far behind everyone else, she enlists the help of her ex-friend Jay Friday. And as I said, it's really fun. Like, it's definitely not like a favorite book or anything. I think I gave the first book a 4-star, but like, I was really stressed at the time, and I was like kind of in a bit of a slump. I read it at the perfect time, and so like I'm a little worried because like I'm not slumpy. I'm getting less and less and less into YA, but I'm hoping this will just, I'm not going in with high expectations. I'm going in expecting a fun time, and that is all I want. So yes, so that is the 12th book. So yes, so those are all of the books that I hauled in October. So thank you guys so much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.